Welcome back to my channel. Today we are diving deep into one of the most fascinating and nostalgic coins in Canadian history, the 2010 Canada 1 cent coin. At first glance, it may seem like just an ordinary penny, something small and easily overlooked. But behind its simple copper surface lies an incredible story of heritage, artistry, and the changing times of a nation. The Canadian 1 cent coin has been a part of everyday life since 1858, serving as one of the most recognizable and widely used coins in Canadian history. For more than a century and a half, it jingled in pockets, filled piggy banks, and passed through countless hands in small daily transactions. But the 2010 edition holds a unique place in history because it was minted only 2 years before the penny was officially discontinued in 2012, marking the end of a long and proud tradition. This particular coin, though small in size, represents the final chapter of an era that shaped Canadian currency and culture. On the obverse side, the coin features the familiar portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, designed by Susanna Blunt, a design first introduced in 2003 and used for all circulating Canadian coins thereafter. Blunt's portrayal of the Queen is notable for its contemporary simplicity. It shows her without a crown, emphasizing dignity, grace, and a more personal connection between the monarchy and the people. On the reverse side, the coin proudly displays the iconic maple leaf twig, a design created by G. Kruger Gray and first introduced in 1937. This design has become one of the longest-lasting and most beloved coin motifs in the world, symbolizing strength, unity, and the natural beauty of Canada. The maple leaf is not just a national emblem, but a symbol of pride, endurance, and the bond that unites Canadians across generations. The 2010 Canada 1 cent coin was struck by the Royal Canadian Mint and is composed of 95.5% steel, 3% copper, and 1.5% nickel, with a thin copper-plated coating that gives it its signature reddish-brown shine. It weighs 2.35 grams, measures 19.05 millimeters in diameter, and has a smooth edge. Millions of these coins were produced for circulation, yet each one carries its own individual story. Among them, some rare pieces are found with minting errors, off-center strikes, die cracks, double dies, or missing copper plating, which make them highly sought after by collectors. These imperfections can significantly increase a coin's market value. Depending on the error type and the overall condition, a 2010 Canadian penny can sometimes sell for several dollars, and in exceptional cases, even hundreds, proving that not all pennies are equal. But beyond monetary value, what makes this coin so remarkable is what it represents: the end of an era. By 2010, the cost of producing each penny had become greater than its actual face value, making it impractical to continue minting. It cost roughly 1.6 cents to produce a single 1 cent coin, which led the Canadian government to make the decision to phase out the penny in 2012. As a result, the 2010 edition serves as a symbol of transition, a small but meaningful reminder of how economic realities can reshape national habits and traditions. For coin collectors, the 2010 penny holds both historical and emotional value. The grading of a coin plays a major role in determining its worth. Coins are usually graded on a scale ranging from good, fine, very fine, and extra fine, up to uncirculated and proof. A coin in uncirculated or mint state condition, especially one with a striking error or unique feature, can fetch a premium price in the collector's market. Proof coins, which are specially made with polished dies and mirror-like surfaces for collectors, are particularly valuable. Even a regular 2010 penny, if well preserved with no scratches, discoloration, or wear, can be worth far more to a collector than its face value. The maple leaf design itself is legendary, one of the longest-running continuous designs in global coinage history, remaining largely unchanged for over 7 decades. This consistency reflects not only the artistic excellence of Kruger Gray's design, but also the deep cultural connection Canadians have with their national symbol. The Royal Canadian Mint, known worldwide for innovation and quality, produced this coin with the same attention to detail and craftsmanship seen in its most prestigious collectible pieces. The Mint has been at the forefront of coin production technology, creating coins that feature advanced engraving, color applications, and even holographic or glow-in-the-dark designs. And the 2010 penny stands as part of that legacy of precision and excellence. Holding a 2010 Canadian 1-cent coin in your hand is like holding a piece of history. It connects you to a time when pennies were still an essential part of daily transactions, when children collected them in jars, when you could buy small candies or add up change to make exact payments, and when the sound of coins clinking in your pocket was part of everyday life. The 2010 penny evokes nostalgia for simpler times and reminds us of the small, yet significant role the penny played in the Canadian economy. It's easy to overlook such a small coin, but when you realize that it represents over 150 years of history, it becomes something far more meaningful. Each one tells a story of transition, marking the shift from physical currency toward digital payments and modern convenience. If you happen to find a 2010 Canadian penny in your collection, or even in an old drawer, it's worth taking a closer look. Examine it carefully for details, its shine, its edges, and any unique features or imperfections. You might just have a hidden gem. Whether or not your coin carries significant monetary value, its sentimental worth as one of the last minted Canadian pennies cannot be understated. It is a keepsake of cultural heritage and national identity. The question often arises, should you sell it or keep it? The answer depends on your perspective. If you're a collector, it's best to hold on to it. Over time, as pennies continue to disappear from circulation and more are lost or melted down, the surviving ones will naturally become rarer and more valuable. Even ordinary specimens may appreciate in value as historical interest grows. Keeping your 2010 penny safe in a protective holder or coin album is a simple yet meaningful way to preserve a piece of Canadian history for the future. In summary, the 2010 Canada 1-cent coin stands out as one of the last symbols of an era that shaped Canadian currency and identity. It features the elegant portrait of Queen Elizabeth II by Susanna Blunt, a timeless representation of leadership and grace, paired with the classic maple leaf design that embodies the nation's unity and strength. It's made with modern materials, yet carries the weight of over a century and a half of tradition. For collectors and history enthusiasts alike, this coin represents the perfect balance between artistry, economy, and emotion. It is more than a coin. It is a story, a symbol, and a reminder of how even the smallest things can hold immense significance. The next time you come across a 2010 Canadian penny, don't dismiss it as ordinary. Instead, take a moment to appreciate its craftsmanship, its legacy, and the historical moment it represents. The closing of one chapter in Canada's monetary history and the beginning of another. Thank you for watching and spending time exploring this story with me. If you enjoyed learning about the 2010 Canada 1-cent coin, be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with your fellow coin enthusiasts and collectors. Let me know in the comments if you have a 2010 penny or any other rare coins in your collection. Your stories and discoveries make this community stronger. Every coin tells a story, and every story has a value beyond measure. Stay connected, keep exploring, and join me again in the next video for more hidden treasures and forgotten pieces of history waiting to be discovered. Take a deep and fascinating journey into the story of the 2011 Canadian 1-cent coin, a piece that represents the final chapter in the long history of Canada's beloved penny. This small coin, though often overlooked, carries great historical and sentimental value for Canadians and collectors alike. By the end of this video, you'll have a complete understanding of this coin's composition, design, minting details, collector value, and cultural significance. The 2011 Canadian penny holds a special place in numismatic history because it was minted during the final phase of the penny's life in Canada. Just a year later, in 2012, The Royal Canadian Mint announced the end of penny production due to increasing manufacturing costs. The decision marked the end of an era, as Canadians said farewell to a coin that had been in continuous circulation for over 150 years. But before its retirement, the 2011 penny became one of the last widely distributed versions, making it both common and historically important. When examining the 2011 penny, one of the first interesting aspects to note is that it was produced in two main varieties, magnetic and non-magnetic. The magnetic version was made of copper-plated steel, while the non-magnetic type was copper-plated zinc. This difference in metal composition may seem minor, but it reflects a key transitional moment in Canadian coin manufacturing. The Royal Canadian Mint had been experimenting for years to find a cost-effective yet durable material for the penny. The magnetic steel composition was cheaper to produce, whereas zinc was slightly costlier but offered a different metallic quality. Both types of coins share the same physical characteristics: a diameter of 19.05 millimeters, a weight of around 2.3 grams, and a plain edge. Despite their small size, these coins embody decades of Canadian coin design evolution and economic consideration. The switch to steel and zinc materials was part of a broader strategy to reduce minting expenses while maintaining traditional design elements that Canadians recognized and cherished. Now, let's look at the artistic and symbolic aspects of the coin. On the obverse side, or the front, the 2011 penny proudly displays the effigy of Queen Elizabeth II. This portrait was created by artist Susanna Blunt, and it shows the Queen wearing a modest crown with a calm, dignified expression. Surrounding her image are the Latin words Elizabeth II de Regina, meaning Elizabeth II, by the grace of God, Queen. This design represents not only Canada's constitutional monarchy, but also its connection to historical British traditions that shaped its currency system. Turning the coin over to the reverse side, you'll find one of the most iconic images in Canadian coinage: two maple leaves attached to a single twig. This timeless design was created by G. Kruger Gray and was first introduced in 1937. The maple leaf, of course, is one of Canada's most recognized national symbols. It represents strength, peace, and unity, qualities that have defined the country's spirit for generations. The fact that this design remained virtually unchanged for over 7 decades shows just how deeply it resonates with Canadians. The 2011 penny's production numbers also tell an interesting story. In that year, the Royal Canadian Mint produced over 361 million magnetic pennies and around 301 million non-magnetic pennies, totaling more than 662 million coins. This massive output ensured that the 2011 penny became one of the last truly common Canadian coins before the denomination was discontinued. However, its large mintage doesn't make it any less special. In fact, for collectors, it represents the final full-scale issue of a coin that had been part of daily life for generations. So why did Canada decide to retire the penny in the first place? The answer lies in economics. By the late 2000s, the cost of producing a single penny had risen to 1.6 cents per coin, meaning it was more expensive to make than its actual face value. As inflation eroded the coin's purchasing power, the penny became increasingly impractical. In 2012, the government officially announced the end of its production, and by 2013, pennies were gradually phased out from circulation. Shops began rounding cash transactions to the nearest 5 cents, marking the end of the penny era. From a collector's perspective, the 2011 Canadian penny has become a modern classic. While it's not considered rare due to its high mintage, its significance lies in its symbolism. It represents the closing chapter of a long and important story in Canadian currency. Collectors often seek out uncirculated or mint-condition examples, especially those that have retained their original copper shine. The magnetic version tends to be more sought after due to its slightly smaller production number and unique steel composition that in terms of market value. The 2011 penny generally sells for a small premium above face value if it is in mint state condition. However, when part of a complete set or included in proof sets from the Royal Canadian Mint, it becomes more desirable. For serious numismatists, it's not about the monetary value. It's about owning a piece of history that tells the story of Canada's changing economy and evolving identity. Beyond its collector appeal, the 2011 penny carries emotional and cultural meaning. Many Canadians remember growing up with pennies, using them for small purchases, saving them in jars, or tossing them into fountains for luck. Its disappearance from circulation in 2013 was a nostalgic moment, as people realized that a familiar piece of daily life had quietly slipped into history. In conclusion, the 2011 Canadian 1 cent coin is far more than just a small copper-colored disc. It symbolizes the end of an important era in Canadian coinage, the blending of tradition and innovation, and the changing face of a nation's economy. Its design, material, and historical context make it a must-have piece for any coin enthusiast. Whether magnetic or non-magnetic, circulated or uncirculated, the 2011 penny represents a tangible connection to Canada's past. Thank you for watching this detailed exploration of the 2011 Canadian penny. If you enjoyed learning about this historic coin and want to discover more fascinating stories from the world of numismatics, make sure to subscribe to Historical Coin Hunt and turn on the notification bell. Your support helps us continue uncovering the stories behind coins from every corner of the world. Stay tuned for more rare finds, expert insights, and hidden histories in our upcoming videos.